All right. So, good morning or whenever. We are going through chapter 11 of the Gita, and it's a glorious chapter, as this is the chapter on Arjuna's mystic vision. And as I talked about last week, there is a sense that Arjuna isn't quite ready, as we'll read. As a matter of fact, my goal is to actually read the rest of the chapter and then double back and just point out a few things. And in this chapter, he gets to a point where he wants so badly to, receive the vision of what Krishna actually is, as as essentially all things. Hey, Alejandro. But once he gets there, he realizes that maybe he's not so ready. And there is this deep feeling of fear and even kind of regret once he does get there. Just being fearful for something that you so badly want to better understand. At the end of the day, as we'll see, I think like the second to last passage is all about devotion, right? And kind of surrendering. And we'll get to that, if not this week, then next. But also some really important points that come up. I think probably the most important and oftentimes one of the most difficult things for us to face is our own mortality. And I think that's one of the most fascinating, coolest parts of chapter 11, is that at some point, as we will read, Krishna says, he's time, he's the devourer of all things, or, something to that effect. And, there's no escaping that. I think one of the most important lessons of chapter 11 is not so much our, facing our own mortality as much as it is, fully accepting, the passage of time. I was stating earlier, of course, kind of reflecting back on my 8-year-old self while looking through the eyes of my own child. My memory doesn't serve me all that great, that's for sure. And, I'm sure that, there's that ego part of me that says, oh man, I was an 8-year-old. Everything I did was perfect. But I'm sure in the eyes of my parents, probably much less so. Anyway, a lot of times when we look back, and maybe now more than ever, is things like pictures and videos are so much more prevalent today than they have been in the past. We see the younger version of ourselves over and over and over again. It comes up in our Facebook memories, and it comes up in our, as we scroll back through our old feed and all that stuff. And this is a very real thing for a lot of people, where the passage of time, right, growing older, can be a very difficult thing for us to face. And again, I think one of the most important lessons of chapter 11, not that Krishna goes into great psychological detail about this effect that it has, that the passage of time has on us, but it's something that we always have to keep in mind, that time is something we cannot control, right? The jnani, right, the practitioner of jnana yoga, fully realizes that. Like time, you can't stop it. It is what it is, kind of thing. And we should just be okay with its passage and our, how we fit into the passage of time. As a matter of fact, there is even reason, I think very good reason, for us to celebrate it. Right? There is such a, in our, especially in the culture in America, is to celebrate youth. And there's no doubt that I think it should be celebrated. I look back at, my generation for sure, right? Gen X. and millennials, Gen Y, and like the amazing advances that have taken place, right? Whether obviously in the fields of technology for sure, but many other fields as well, and that should be celebrated. I think that's great. And at the same time, one thing that drives me absolutely crazy in our culture, and I keep telling my parents, and I even have said to Diana about my in-laws, that I mean, obviously, if they need extra help, then I can't provide that extra help. I'm not a nurse or anything like that, but I'm not the biggest fan of retirement homes. Some of them are great, of course. Some of them are just kind of perfectly suitable for so many adults, later in age. But I look at my family in Italy, where the family, they just all help one another out. My great uncle is 88 this year, I think, 88 or maybe 89 this year. He lives at home, and his granddaughter and his son and his sons and his daughter will all take care of him, right? They all pitch in and help. And my point is that, as we get older and as we kind of look towards and I'm not just saying this because I myself am getting older, and I hope that, you see the value in the wisdom and the value in people who are older, but that they should be cared for because they've cared for us, right? Hopefully to a pretty good degree. But it's our duty, right? It's our duty to take care of not just the young, but also take care of those who are older, because we ourselves, just like we can reflect back on when we were so young, we might be able to think ahead as well, right? And really consider where we might be in the future, and who might be taking care of us. We can only hope that it would be somebody, a loved one. I realize that that's not always the case, and again, is a good reason why retirement homes and can be of such great value. Okay, so anyway, time, our place in it, our mortality, and eventually, as we see towards the end of the chapter, is all about surrender. And these requirements, in the study of yoga here are this, again, acceptance of time, the passage of it, how we fit into it, the fact that we are, in fact, mortal, and really learning to celebrate every moment as much as we possibly can. I think about those times when I get so aggravated. I don't get too angry necessarily and never take it out on anybody, but I get frustrated oftentimes with myself. And those moments, right? You're wasting time. You're wasting time because we're only given so much time to be here, right? Even if it is this kind of lower reality. And then finally, kind of the requirement of surrendering to it all, right? Our own mortality and the passage of time. All right, I'm going to pick up here where, and I read this part last week. Sanjaya, right, the narrator to the blind king, picks up the 9th passage. Having spoken these words, Krishna, the master of yoga, revealed to Arjuna his most exalted lordly form. He appeared with an infinite number of faces, ornamented with heavenly jewels, displaying unending miracles and the countless weapons of his power. Clothed in celestial garments and covered with garlands, sweet smelling with heavenly fragrances, he showed himself as the infinite Lord, the source of all wonders, whose face is everywhere. If 1,000 suns were to rise in the heavens at the same time, the blaze of their light would resemble the splendor of that supreme spirit. There, within the body of the God of gods, Arjuna saw all the manifold forms of the universe united as one. Filled with amazement, his hair standing on end in ecstasy, he bowed before the Lord with joined palms and spoke these words. So Arjuna says, O Lord, I see within your body all the gods and every kind of living creature. I see Brahma, the creator, seated on a lotus. I see the ancient sages and the celestial serpents. I see the infinite mouths and arms, stomachs and eyes, and you are embodied in every form. I see you everywhere, without beginning, middle, or end. You are the Lord of all creation, and the cosmos is your body. You wear a crown and carry a mace and discus. Your radiance is blinding and immeasurable. I see you, who are so difficult to behold, shining like a fiery sun, blazing in every direction. You're the supreme, changeless reality, the one thing to be known. You are the refuge of all creation, the immortal spirit, the eternal guardian of eternal dharma. You are without beginning, middle, or end. You touch everything with your infinite power. The sun and moon are your eyes, and your mouth is fire. Your radiance warms the cosmos. O Lord, your presence fills the heavens and the earth and reaches in every direction. I see the three worlds trembling before this vision of your wonderful and terrible form. So kind of like an important part here. We're transitioning from the words like the sun and moon are your eyes, your radiance warms the cosmos, the immortal spirit, the eternal guardian of eternal dharma. And then we have this passage, the three worlds trembling before this vision of your wonderful and terrible form. The gods, this is the 21st passage, the gods enter your being, some calling out and greeting you in fear. Great saints sing your glory, praying, may all be well. The multitudes of gods, demigods, and demons are all overwhelmed by the sight of you. O mighty Lord, at the sight of your myriad eyes and mouths, arms and legs, stomachs and fearful teeth, I and the entire universe shake in terror. O Vishnu, I can see your eyes shining. With open mouth, you glitter in an array of colors, and your body touches the sky. I look at you and my heart trembles. I have lost all courage and all peace of mind. When I see your mouths with their fearful teeth, mouths burning like the fires at the end of time, I forget where I am and I have no place to go. O Lord, you are the support of the universe. Have mercy on me. I see all the sons of Dhritarashtra. I see Bhishma, Drona, and Karna. I see our warriors and all the kings who are here to fight. All are rushing into your awful jaws. I see some of them crushed by your teeth. As rivers flow into the ocean, all the warriors of this world are passing into your fiery jaws. All creatures rush to their destruction like moths into a flame. You lap the worlds into your burning mouths and swallow them. Filled with your terrible radiance, O Vishnu, the whole of creation bursts into flames. Tell me who you are, O Lord of terrible form. I bow before you. Have mercy. I want to know who you are, you who existed before all creation. Your nature and workings confound me. All right, so I'm going to stop there. That's Arjuna's take on what he experiences, right? Because we don't want to get mixed up with these. I mean, it's oftentimes called the cosmic vision, right? But we can't really call it a vision. It's not just what he sees, it's what he's like fully experiencing there in the moment with all, not just his limited senses, but remember, he was granted this, mystical vision, right? He was given this sight, almost granted this magical ability to go beyond what we know as this limited perception of sight. So it's like he's feeling, he's smelling, he's absorbing everything that's going on. And as I mentioned, I forget which passage it was. The 20th passage, Arjuna goes on and goes from wonderful and terrible. Your wonderful and terrible form. It's both of these things, which I think is just amazing. And it's just to consider suspending belief and the artistry in creating something like a horror movie. But also there's something that draws me in, right? It's the fear, it's the shake, it's the tremble, it's the the shock of, seeing, the doll face in, in one of my favorites, Nightbreed, or Button Face in Nightbreed. Seeing that face, it's so terrifying, but it's like thrilling at the same time. It's both wonderful and terrible at the same time. And by no means am I comparing Krishna to Button Face, but one of my absolute favorite characters in horror movies. So anyway, I do want to go back to some of the things that Sanjaya said that I talked about before, that I talked about last week, and I would likely have to finish on this, but I find so important. And that is, he brings up two things that we could use as signposts as success in our practice. One is the radiance, right, of 1,000 suns. Right? There is, sure, you might not be experiencing brightness necessarily in your meditation practice or your yoga practice, but the feeling of radiance, the idea that comes up in your mind when you hear the word radiance, if that is something that you're exhibiting in your practice, chances are you're likely doing something right in your practice. The other is the hair standing on end, right? And again, I think I brought this up last week, right? The feeling of not exhilaration in an accomplishment necessarily, but the feeling of exhilaration in like deep calmness, right? A very kind of a centered state of your being where, right, the kind of geometry of your physical body, right, the movement of your breath, and the calmness of your mind all kind of come together in this place where, your body might tremble, the hair might stand on end. So remember those, consider those qualities as you continue to practice. Okay. Well, maybe it'd be best that I do end it there for today. And we'll pick up on Arjuna's speech here next week. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. That's for sure. Please, be sure to take care of yourself and others. All right. And thank you guys.